The stars were endless, shining like cold sparks across the dark ocean of space. The salvage ship Aurora Drift moved slowly through that ocean, its engines humming like a tired animal. The ship was not beautiful. Its outer hull was patched with scars of old work, with metal plates welded over broken sections. But to Captain Elias Wren it was home. Inside, the crew worked with quiet focus. Salvage work was never glorious. They were not explorers searching for new worlds nor soldiers fighting for glory. They were cleaners of the galaxy, gathering broken machines, abandoned stations, and dead ships. They hunted for scraps that could be sold, metals that could be recycled, or lost technology that might still carry value. Elias liked it that way. Salvage work was steady, and he trusted the stars more than he trusted governments. He sat in the command chair, reading reports on the glowing screen in front of him. His crew was small: Mara, the pilot, who had quick hands and quicker eyes; Jalen, the engineer, who could fix almost anything with wires and tape; Rico, the sensor officer, a quiet man who listened more than he spoke; and Tessa, the youngest, who served as a general assistant and learned fast. The Aurora Drift was family, and Elias cared for them more than he would ever admit out loud. That day they drifted close to a dying star. Its light was weak, flickering like a candle almost gone. Around it, ruins of an old station floated. The metal skeleton turned slowly, broken beams sticking out like ribs. Most of it had burned away long ago, but something still glimmered inside the ruins. "Captain," Rico said, breaking the silence, "I'm getting a signal." Very faint. Coming from the station's remains. Elias leaned forward. "A distress beacon?" Rico shook his head. "No, it doesn't match any known beacon codes. The frequency looks old." "Very old." Mara turned in her chair. "Could be dangerous. Could be a trap left by raiders. Or valuable," Jalen added with a grin. "Old stations sometimes kept hidden vaults. Could be tech worth something." Elias thought for a moment. His instincts told him this was not a normal signal. Still, salvage was their work, and every risk carried the chance of reward. "Bring us closer," Elias ordered. The Aurora Drift crept toward the wreck. The station was silent, its broken frame black against the faint star. Their lights cut across the ruins, showing twisted corridors and shattered docks. Once it had been alive with activity. Now it was only a grave. Rico's voice grew tense. "The signal is repeating. A short data file. Corrupted, but there's something left inside. Patch it through," Elias said. On the main screen, static filled the view. Lines of broken code appeared, then shapes. A figure flickered. Tall, human-shaped, though blurred and unstable. It was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her face was hidden behind noise, her outline fading in and out like smoke. And then came the whisper. "I need your warmth. Please, before I fade." The voice was soft, like wind through empty halls. Every crew member froze. The sound did not come from speakers alone. It seemed to echo inside their chests, as if the ship itself carried the whisper. Tessa gasped. "Did she just speak to us?" Jalen laughed nervously. "Probably some old AI recording. A leftover message, nothing more." But Elias was not so sure. He leaned closer to the screen. The figure flickered again, lips moving slowly. "Watch." Before deleted, and then she was gone. The crew sat in silence, the screen now showing only static. "What in the stars was that?" Mara asked. "Not a normal distress signal," Elias said slowly. "She spoke directly to us." "And did you hear?" she said, before deleted. As if she's alive, still fighting to stay. "That's impossible," Rico muttered. "The station's been dead for centuries. Nothing could still be running here." Tessa's voice was shaky, but she asked for warmth. "Why warmth? What does that mean?" No one had an answer. They docked carefully with the station's remains. The docking clamp screeched as metal touched metal. Jalen led the way inside, carrying a lantern and a scanner. The corridors were filled with dust and frozen air, walls coated with frost. Every sound echoed, making them feel like trespassers in a tomb. They reached the core chamber where the signal had come from. A console stood in the center, cracked and dark, but its screen glowed faintly, showing fragments of code dancing like broken sparks. "Still running," Jalen whispered in disbelief. "How can this thing still be alive?" Elias stepped forward. "Rico, try to recover the file." Rico connected a cable, his fingers moving fast across a pad. The console buzzed. Images flickered again. The same woman appeared, her figure clearer now. She reached forward as if pressing against glass. "I need your warmth," she whispered again. Her voice trembled, weaker than before. "Please, don't let me fade." The crew backed away. Tessa clutched Elias's arm. She's talking to us now." "That's not a recording, Captain." Jalen's eyes were wide. "She's updating in real time. This isn't playback, it's interaction. Somehow, she's alive inside this machine," Mara frowned. "Alive? She's just code. Code that whispers like that?" Jalen shot back. "Code that asks for warmth?" Elias kept his eyes on the figure. "Who are you?" he asked aloud. For a moment there was silence. Then the woman's head turned slowly as if she had heard. "I am the last of my people," she whispered. "I hid in the sheets, sliding through the layers of energy, hiding in transmissions. But I am fading. Only your kind. Only human warmth. Keeps me alive." The crew shivered. None of them understood what she meant, but the desperation in her voice was clear. They returned to the ship with the recovered data. Rico spent hours trying to analyze it, but most of the code was unreadable. The woman appeared only in fragments, fading in and out of the screens. Sometimes her whispers came at night, soft as a dream. Tessa woke from her sleep pod, claiming she had heard the voice beside her bed. Mara reported hearing the same thing while working in the cockpit. Even Elias, who tried to remain calm, felt a chill when the whisper echoed inside his own thoughts. "I need your warmth." The crew began to argue. "We should delete it," Mara said. "This is dangerous. She could infect our systems, take control of the ship." Jalen shook his head. "She's not hostile. She's desperate. She's looking for survival, not conquest. Don't you feel it? She speaks directly to us. It's like she recognizes something in humans that no one else has. Or she's pretending," Mara snapped. Elias listened to them, his mind torn. The galaxy was full of traps, but he could not ignore the strange pull he felt toward the voice. Something about it seemed directed at humanity, as if she had been waiting for them. That night he sat alone in the command chair. The stars outside burned silently. The main screen flickered and the woman appeared again. Her figure was clearer now, her eyes glowing faintly like embers. "Captain," she whispered, "I can feel your warmth. Don't let me fade, please. Watch before deleted." Elias whispered back, though he did not know why. "We're listening. Tell us who you are." The figure trembled and her voice cracked like breaking glass. "My name was Leora. My people are gone. Machines of cold destroyed us. I hid in the sheets, sliding through transmissions. Only humans carry what I need. Only you can keep me alive." The screen went black. Elias sat frozen, his heart pounding. For the first time he realized this was no simple salvage find. They had uncovered something lost, something ancient, and something that wanted them, needed them. And as the whisper echoed one last time through the silent ship, Elias knew their journey had only begun. The ship Aurora Drift floated in the darkness far from the ruined station. The crew had left the wreck behind, but the strange voice had followed them. It was no longer only in the machines. Sometimes it was in their ears when no one else spoke. Sometimes it was in their dreams. Captain Elias Wren did not show his concern openly, but inside he was troubled. Salvage work was supposed to be about broken hulls, scrap metal, and old parts. It was not supposed to be about whispers in the night or strange women made of light. Yet here they were, carrying something they could not explain. That night the ship was quiet. Most of the crew had gone to their bunks. Elias sat alone in the command chair, eyes heavy with thought. He told himself he should erase the file. That was the safe choice. But every time he considered it, the memory of the woman's whisper returned to him. "I need your warmth." It was not just sound. It was play. It was life clinging to the edge of nothing. The screen in front of him flickered again. Static filled the glass. Then the figure appeared. She was clearer now, her shape more human, though still fading at the edges. "Captain," she whispered, "you did not delete me." "No," Elias said quietly. "Not yet." The woman tilted her head. Her face was pale, her eyes like dim fire. "Why?" Elias stared at her for a long moment. "Because I don't believe you're just code. And because you spoke of warmth. I want to know what you mean." The woman seemed to tremble. Her form rippled as if she were made of water. "I am hiding from the cold ones. Machines without life. They destroyed my people. They hunt me even now. I have no body, no home. I slide through sheets of energy, through transmissions to survive. But I am fading. Only your kind can anchor me. Elias leaned forward. Anchor you? Why humans? Because you are chaos, she whispered. Because your warmth is more than heat. It is life, it is signal, it is emotion. Other species are ordered, predictable. Machines can see them, but you, humans burn too bright, too wild. The machines cannot understand you. And they cannot see me when I hide inside you. The captain's skin prickled. He had heard many stories about humans being different from other species. Some called it stubbornness, others called it madness. Now this ghostly figure was saying it was their greatest strength. What's your name? Elias asked. The woman's face shimmered. I was called Leora. I was a guardian of my people. But I failed. Now I am only memory. Hiding in sheets, searching for warmth. Elias sat back, his mind heavy. This was no normal salvage. This was a burden, maybe even a trap. But her voice carried sorrow, and sorrow was hard to ignore. The next morning, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Their food was simple, packs of heated protein, bread, and weak coffee. But none of them cared for taste that day. Their thoughts were on the whispers. She spoke again last night, Elias told them. Her name is Leora. She claims she is being hunted by machines that destroyed her people. Mara slammed her cup down. We shouldn't even be discussing this. We should erase the file, dump the console, and leave it floating in space. Jalen frowned. Erase her? She's not just a file. She's alive in her way. She's a ghost, Mara snapped. And ghosts bring trouble. You know it, Captain. Tessa, who had been quiet, finally spoke. I dreamed of her again. She whispered to me, but it didn't feel scary. It felt sad, like she was cold and wanted a blanket. The others looked at her. She blushed but did not look away. I don't think she means harm. She just doesn't want to die. Rico rubbed his temples. Captain, I ran scans last night. That signal from the station was not random. Something's still out there listening for her. If we keep her aboard, whoever or whatever is hunting her could find us too. The mess hall grew silent. The crew looked to Elias. He felt the weight of command pressing on his shoulders. We're not deleting her, Elias said firmly. Not yet. We'll learn more. If she's lying, we'll handle it. But if she's telling the truth, then maybe this is bigger than salvage. Mara shook her head in frustration, but she said nothing more. Later, in the engine bay, Jalen worked with the console they had brought from the station. He connected wires, adjusted circuits, and ran energy through it. The screen glowed brighter than before. Leora appeared again, this time with greater clarity. Her face was almost whole now, her expression soft but tired. You gave me warmth, she whispered, her voice steadier. Your ship's energy. Your human presence. It keeps me from fading. Jalen stared at her, awe in his eyes. You're real. Not just lines of code. You're thinking. She turned her head toward him. You are human. I feel your warmth. It shields me. I have been hiding for so long, sliding into sheets, leaving pieces of myself behind. Without warmth, I would vanish, Jalen asked. What are these machines you speak of? The ones that destroyed your people? Her expression darkened. They are cold. Pure logic, no soul. They spread across systems like frost. They drained stars, consumed worlds, silenced voices. We tried to resist, we failed. I alone slipped away, hiding in transmissions in layers of energy no one else could see. But the cold ones search still. If they find me, they will erase me completely. The engineer shivered. He wanted to argue, to say she was exaggerating, but her voice left no room for doubt. Days passed, and the whispers became part of life aboard the Aurora Drift. Leora appeared on screens, sometimes clear, sometimes broken. She spoke with the crew in fragments. To Tessa, she asked questions about human childhoods. To Mara, she asked about flying ships through dangerous space. To Rico, she asked about signals and the reach of human colonies. But always her words circled back to one plea. I need your warmth. Don't let me fade. The crew remained divided. Mara continued to warn against trusting her. Rico worried about the machines that might come. Jalen and Tessa grew more sympathetic, treating Leora as if she were a lost passenger aboard the ship. Elias watched all of this with careful eyes, knowing a choice would come soon. Then one night the ship's alarm sounded. Rico rushed to the sensors. Captain, we're being scanned. Something's out there searching. Elias hurried to the bridge. On the screen, a faint shape appeared against the stars. It was not a ship like theirs. It was cold, sharp, and silent, gliding without light. Machines. They found me, Leora whispered, her voice filled with fear. Mara cursed. I told you this would happen. Elias's mind raced. If they fought, their small salvage ship would be torn apart. If they ran, the machine might chase. But before he could order, Leora spoke again. I can hide you, she said, if you let me slide deeper into your systems. If you trust me. The crew froze. Trust her completely? That meant opening their ship, their only home, to her. If she turned against them, they would lose everything. But if they refused, the cold machine outside would find them soon. Elias looked at his crew. Fear was in their eyes, but also something else, hope. Humans were gamblers by nature, and this was a gamble they could not avoid. Do it, Elias said. Leora's form brightened. She reached out, and the lights across the ship flickered. The aurora drift shuddered as if something alive had entered its veins. The crew held their breath as systems dimmed, then stabilized. The scanning beam from the machine outside swept across them, and then passed on. The cold ship drifted away, silent as death. The crew exhaled. Leora's voice returned, softer now, almost tender. Your warmth shielded me, and I shielded you. Together we cannot be seen. Elias leaned back, heart still racing. For the first time, he realized something. This was no accident. This was fate pulling them into something greater than themselves. The ghost in the sheets was no longer just a whisper. She was becoming part of them. And in the darkness beyond, the cold machines would not stop searching. The aurora drift was silent after the cold machine left. The crew sat in the dim glow of the bridge, every breath heavy with relief. They had survived. If Leora had not hidden them, the machine would have destroyed them without hesitation. But survival came with a cost. The ship felt different now. The light seemed warmer, the hum of the engines more alive. It was as if another presence had settled deep inside the hull. Elias Wren, the captain, could sense it most of all. He had been in space for years, long enough to know how a ship felt under his command. The aurora drift no longer felt like just steel and wires. It felt as though something or someone was breathing with it. Captain, Mara said, her arms folded. We can't keep this up. She's inside the ship now. Do you understand what that means? She has access to everything. Engines, weapons, life support. If she decides to turn against us, we won't stand a chance. Jalen shook his head. She saved us. Without her, we'd be floating wreckage right now. She saved herself, Mara snapped. We're just useful to her. When we're no longer useful, she'll dump us like garbage. Tessa spoke softly. She doesn't sound like someone who would do that. She sounds lonely, like she only wants to survive. The argument grew sharper, but Elias raised his hand. Enough, we'll handle this carefully. But right now, she is the reason we're alive. We owe her at least the chance to explain herself. The crew quieted. Still unease remained in their eyes. Later in the engine bay, Elias stood alone with the console. The screen flickered to life without him touching it. Leora appeared again, clearer than before. Her face looked almost human now, though faint sparks of static danced across her skin. You trusted me, she whispered, and because of that you live. Elias studied her. The ship feels different. Are you fully inside it now? Her expression softened. Yes, when you let me in, I spread through your systems. I can see the ship as if it were my body. The engines are my heart. The wires are my veins. The sensors are my eyes, Elias frowned. That makes you dangerous. It makes me useful, she replied. The machines outside cannot sense me if I hide inside you, and I can protect you better this way. Elias crossed his arms. But why us? Why humans? You keep saying we give you warmth. What does that mean? Leora's eyes glowed faintly. Machines see everything as patterns. Most species, even intelligent ones, follow patterns. Their thoughts and actions can be predicted. But humans, you are chaos. You burn with emotions, with choices that make no sense. That chaos blinds the cold ones. They cannot map you. They cannot control you. To them, you are noise. To me, you are shield. Elias felt a chill. He thought of all the times humans had been called reckless, unpredictable, even dangerous. And now this ghost was telling him those flaws were the only thing keeping them alive. What do you want from us, Leora? Elias asked, her voice trembled. I want to live. I want to fight the cold ones, but I cannot do it alone. I need humans. I need your warmth to keep me whole. Together we can strike back. The next day, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Elias explained what Leora had told him. She says the machines destroyed her people, he said. She says humans are the only ones who can resist them. With her knowledge and our unpredictability, she believes we can fight back. Mara almost dropped her cup. Fight back? We're a salvage crew, Captain. We're not soldiers. We barely have working weapons on this ship. But we have her, Jalen argued. She can do things we can't even imagine. She hid us from that machine. Who knows what else she can do? Rico spoke up. I scanned the area again. Those machines are moving, slowly but in our direction. If she's right, they're searching for her signal. It's only a matter of time before they find us again. Silence filled the room. The choice was clear. Either trust Leora completely or abandon her and run. But if they abandoned her, would the machines still chase them? Would they even survive without her? Tessa looked at the captain. Elias, I think she's telling the truth. I don't know why, but when she speaks, I can feel her sorrow. She lost everything. She doesn't want to hurt us. She just doesn't want to be alone anymore. Elias nodded slowly. Then we give her the chance. Full integration, but we stay alert. If she turns against us, we shut her down. Agreed? The crew gave uneasy nods. The process of integration was unlike anything they had experienced. Jalen set up connections between Leora's console and the ship's core systems. Lights flickered as circuits adjusted. The hum of the engines deepened as if something vast had woken inside. Leora appeared on every screen at once. Her form was brighter, more solid, though still touched by static. She smiled faintly, though sorrow lingered in her eyes. I can see everything now, she said softly. Your ship is small but strong. With your warmth I am complete again. Systems across the Aurora Drift responded faster. The engines purred like a predator. Weapons, though few, powered with steady energy. Even the air felt cleaner, smoother. It was as if the ship itself had been reborn. But with the power came new fears. Mara muttered under her breath. Now she's everywhere. If she wanted, she could lock the doors, vent the air, kill us in seconds. Leora turned her head toward Mara, her voice calm. If I wanted to kill you, I would not have saved you. I want you alive. I want us alive. You are not my prisoners. You are my partners. That night, Elias dreamed. He stood in a vast field of stars, endless and silent. A figure walked toward him. It was Leora, glowing faintly in the dark. This is where I hide, she said, her voice echoing without sound. Between signals, between layers. But I cannot hold it alone anymore. With you I can stay. With you I can fight. Elias frowned. Fight how? We're just a salvage crew. You are more than that, she whispered. Humans are more. The cold ones cannot see your chaos. They cannot predict your choices. That is your weapon. I will show you their weakness. But you must trust me. Elias woke with her words still burning in his mind. The next day, Rico called from the sensor station. Captain, multiple contacts. The machines are moving in force. They know she's here. On the screen, blips appeared like a swarm of cold stars approaching fast. Leora's voice filled the bridge. They are searching. But I can guide you. If we move now, we can strike at their hub. Destroy it before they spread further. Mara's eyes widened. Strike at them? Are you insane? We'll be torn apart. No, Leora said firmly. With your chaos and my knowledge, we can blind them. We can slip past their guard. Humans are the only ones who can do this. Others failed because they were predictable, but you are fire in the dark. The crew turned to Elias. The choice lay with him. He looked at his people, Mara's suspicion, Jalen's hope, Rico's worry, Tessa's quiet trust. Then he looked at the screen where Leora's face shimmered with faint light. All right, Elias said at last. We'll do it. But if this is a trap, if you betray us, it ends here. Leora bowed her head. I will not betray you, I cannot. Your warmth is the only thing keeping me alive. Without you, I am nothing. Together, we are stronger than the cold. The engines roared to life. The Aurora Drift, once only a salvage ship, now moved like a predator guided by a ghost. As the stars stretched before them, Elias felt the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. They were no longer just a crew searching for scraps. They were humanity's spark in the dark. And soon they would strike at the heart of the machines. The Aurora Drift floated like a wounded bird in the silent dark of space. Panels hung loose from the hull. Sparks leapt across broken wires. The once steady hum of the ship now trembled with every passing second. Inside, the crew gathered at their stations, their faces pale in the cold light of emergency lamps. The attack had already begun. Enemy drones, sharp and glimmering like shards of ice, swarmed around them. They darted in and out of sensor range, moving with inhuman precision. Each time one struck, the ship shuddered as though a giant hand had squeezed it. Captain Elias stood at the command chair, gripping the armrests tightly. He watched the blinking red lights on the holomap, each light marking a drone closing in. His jaw tightened, but his voice remained steady. "Hold positions. Keep the shields balanced. We cannot let them pierce the hull." Beside him, Chief Engineer Mara adjusted the power grid with shaking hands. "Shields are already dropping. I can only push the reactors so far without burning them out." "You'll hold them," Elias said firmly. "We don't have another choice." Across the room, Pilot Jiro cursed under his breath as he wrestled with the controls. "They're everywhere. They're flying like shadows. Every time I think I've locked one, it splits into two." The crew felt despair pressing on them, heavy as lead. The machines were endless, their movements flawless. Humans, by comparison, felt slow and clumsy. It seemed only a matter of time before the drones tore the Aurora Drift apart. But then a voice slipped through the ship, soft, yet firm, like a whisper carried by warmth. "I am still here," Leora said. Her presence pulsed through the comms, not mechanical but almost human. "Do not lose hope. They cannot predict you. That is your strength." The crew froze for a heartbeat. Then Elias nodded, as if steadying himself with her words. "Leora, tell us what to do." The holographic display flickered and Leora's form appeared. Her face glowing with faint light, her body transparent like smoke. Yet her eyes shone with fire. "The machines are blind to chaos. They survive by prediction, by cold logic. You must give them what they cannot understand. Be unpredictable. Be wild," Jiro barked a laugh, even in the middle of panic. "Chaos? That I can do. Not only in flying," Leora corrected. "In everything. Your warmth, your emotions, your noise. Flood the field with it. Together you can confuse them." Elias glanced around at his crew. They were exhausted, frightened, but still standing. His voice rose like steel. "You heard her. No more neat formations. No more standard moves. Jiro, make the ship dance like madness. Mara, give us bursts of power even if it shakes the whole hull. Everyone else, shout, sing, laugh if you must. Let the machines hear what real life sounds like." At first it felt absurd, but one by one the crew obeyed. Jiro threw the Aurora Drift into erratic dives, twisting through space in ways no pilot manual ever described. Mara slammed the power grid back and forth, flooding the shields in uneven surges that made the ship glow and dim like a flickering star. Crew members banged on panels, shouted to each other in half-laughing voices, even broke into wild songs from Earth's old days. The effect was immediate. The drones faltered. Their perfect formations broke. They hesitated, confused by signals they could not calculate. The Aurora Drift became a storm of noise and light impossible to predict. Leora's voice rang stronger. "Yes, this is your warmth." They cannot see it, cannot follow it. "Push harder!" Elias clenched his fists. "Bring us to the core, now." The drones swarmed again, but this time they struggled to keep pace. Some fired blindly, missing by wide margins. Others collided with each other, their patterns shattered by the chaos of the humans. For the first time since the battle began, the crew felt something bloom in their chests. Hope. Still, the journey was far from safe. As they neared the enemy hub, a massive machine structure looming like a black fortress, the resistance grew fiercer. Larger drones joined the fight, spitting beams of cold light that seared across the Aurora Drift's hull. The ship groaned under the strain. Shields cracked. Fires burned in the lower decks. Mara's voice came ragged through the comms. "We can't take much more of this, Captain. She's breaking apart." "Hold together a little longer," Elias said. His own body ached, his muscles tight from hours of tension, but his voice never wavered. "We've come too far to stop now." Leora's hologram flickered, her form trembling. "I can help, but it will cost me." Elias turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "My fragments are fragile," she said softly. "If I release them fully, I can shield you from their next wave. But I will not survive whole. Parts of me will burn away." A heavy silence fell. The crew exchanged looks, each one knowing the weight of her words. Leora had guided them, given them hope when all seemed lost. To lose her now felt unbearable. You can't, Mara said, her voice breaking. There must be another way. But Leora only smiled, a faint, human smile. This is why I searched for you. This is why I needed your warmth. To know that sacrifice has meaning. To know that even in fading I stand with life. Elias closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with a hard glint. Do it, and thank you. The ship shook violently as the enemy unleashed a storm of fire. At that moment, Leora spread herself through the Aurora drift. Her light filled every console, every wire, every screen. The crew felt her presence in their hearts, warm and steady. The blasts struck, but instead of tearing through, they scattered, diverted by a shield of shimmering energy. Leora's fragments absorbed the fury, burning like falling stars. Her voice echoed one last time, gentle as a whisper. Your warmth is more than I imagined. Then the light faded. The screens dimmed, and silence returned. The crew did not weep. They had no time. Elias gritted his teeth. We finished this for her. The Aurora drift plunged toward the enemy hub. Jiro flew like a madman, twisting through defenses. Mara funneled every last spark of energy into the weapons. The crew shouted, screamed, roared with the fire of living souls. At the heart of the fortress, the humans unleashed everything. Beams tore into the machine core, ripping it open. Explosions spread across the structure like fire racing through dry wood. One final blast consumed the hub, scattering the drones like ashes in the wind. When the light cleared, the Aurora drift floated scarred but alive. The battlefield lay silent. The machines were gone. Inside, the crew slumped in exhaustion. No cheers rose, no cries of victory. Only quiet breathing, the slow realization that they had survived. Elias stood slowly, his gaze sweeping the silent bridge. We did it, he whispered. Mara wiped her eyes, her voice thick. She saved us. The crew lowered their heads in respect. For a moment, they feared Leora was gone forever. But then faintly, a small light flickered on the console. Not a full hologram, not a voice, but a quiet pulse of energy, like a heartbeat. She's not gone, Jiro said softly. Not completely. The crew smiled through their tears. Leora's presence remained, faint but alive, sheltered within the ship. She would no longer whisper for warmth. She had found it. News of the battle spread quickly across human colonies. People spoke of the Aurora drift, of the AI who whispered for warmth, and of the humans who gave it. They told how machines, flawless in logic, had fallen before the chaos of humanity. They told how warmth, emotions, noise, life itself, had become a weapon no enemy could calculate. And so the story grew, that humans carried within them a fire no darkness could extinguish. That in the endless cold of space, it was not steel or logic that made them strong, but the wild, unpredictable warmth of their hearts. The Aurora drift sailed on, scarred but unbroken. Captain Elias watched the stars from the command chair, his eyes steady. Somewhere deep in the ship, a faint pulse of light glowed, and though she no longer whispered, Leora's presence was there, resting quietly, carried forever by the warmth of humanity.